The playoffs are finally here, and now, definitely by now, we have to know who's good in the NFL. Right? Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Podcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Pakistan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. No, seriously, maybe by the Super Bowl we'll know Grossi. And today we are going to be ranking all 14 teams heading into Wild Card Weekend. And listen, it has been a tumultuous season, to say the very least. It has been one of the most chaotic regular seasons that I can remember in a very, very long time. Just the parity in the NFL has been at an all-time high, and from week to week, teams looking drastically different. And yes, injuries have played a huge role in that, but it has all come down to these final 14 teams, and one of these teams is gonna go and win the frackin' Super Bowl. Who's it gonna be? Yeah, I have no idea. Before we jump into these power rankings, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to you all as our subscriber numbers are moving up quickly. We just hit 963,000 subscribers today, and we are just 37K away from 1 million. We should be hitting it within the next few weeks, definitely by the Super Bowl. As always, this show has no sponsors whatsoever. It's a free show. It is free to subscribe, so feel free to do so to help get to that 1 million milestone, and I appreciate the ever-living heck out of you. Starting off with number 14. Sorry. You got the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers. They won the division. They won the NFC South in the most NFC South-esque way, in which they lost against the Buccaneers this past Saturday. Though before we go any further, I do have to say, that third quarter on Saturday, it looked like the Buccaneers sent the refs a check in the mail.
Well, I do this for the love of the game.
But we'll dive into that game in a hot minute. But the Panthers lost against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this past Saturday. However, it was the Falcons knocking off the Saints on Sunday and allowed the Panthers to win the NFC South for the first time since 2015, which, hell, man, keep freaking pounding. You're in the playoffs. I'm happy for Panthers fans because they have gone through a rough time. Whether it's been head coaching changes, whether it's been Bryce Young and not really knowing if he's the guy, though, I think the jury is still out, though he definitely has progressed this season. And of course, your owner is David Tepper. And so I'm very happy for Carolina Panthers fans. But if we take a look at how they've been playing the last 2 weeks, it has not been great football. They got pretty beat up by the Seattle Seahawks, and then showing up on Saturday, yes, while the refs were definitely not great in that game, that offense was basically non-existent. The play calling wasn't good. They're calling a flea flicker on the opposing 30. And of course, in the rain, that didn't work out well. And it just feels like their offense is so inconsistent, right? Bryce Young has put together some phenomenal performances this year, and there's been other times where he just has not shown up. And if you've been looking at what the Panthers have been doing over these last couple months, they just keep on alternating between wins and losses every other week, but they are heading into these playoffs losing 2 in a row. Rico Dowdle, after running all over the Green Bay Packers, he hasn't had a game over 60 yards since November 2nd, which was the game against Green Bay. He's had 2 TDs in the last 8 games, and Hubbard hasn't done much either, so their run game has really been lackluster over these past couple of months. You definitely want to see a complimentary run game as we head into the postseason, because I think that's going to be their best chance of beating the LA Rams, which I know they were able to beat them earlier, but right now, the Carolina Panthers are ranking 27th in points per game scored on offense, which is the lowest out of all these 14 teams heading into the postseason. In addition, they rank 26th in passing offense, and so yeah, you just want to see more from Bryce Young, especially if that run game is going to be lacking. But as I mentioned from this past Saturday, besides the play calling and besides the offense not being so great, their defense has risen to at least be an average squad in the NFL. They're currently ranked 15th in points allowed on defense. And so with getting a bunch of guys back from injury who weren't playing during that Rams game, I think the Panthers definitely have a shot, especially playing at home. I know it's definitely going to be a tough matchup because the Rams can put up a lot of points, but they aren't looking the absolute best heading into this postseason either. They have a whole lot of potential, but we'll kind of see what they can do. We'll talk about them later. So as of right now, the Panthers limping into the playoffs like a couple other teams here, but they rank at number 14. I have no doubt that they definitely can get it done against LA, as they've already done a few weeks ago, but we'll see if they can keep on pounding into the divisional round. Then at number 13, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, they did it, man. They avoided the 9-8 memes. They won the AFC North after an insane fourth quarter against the Baltimore Ravens. And the Ravens, they were no match for the Steelers' secret weapon.
What's that?
Holy water.
You keep it away.
It burns!
And for Pittsburgh, yeah, what a freaking month this has been. They could have locked up this division weeks ago, but instead, of course, they made it a lot more difficult. They were not able to knock off the Cleveland Browns, and ultimately, that game came down to a missed field goal from Tyler Loop that allowed them to get into the postseason. And on top of that, some Aaron Rodgers magic that you saw in the drive before. And here's the thing about the Steelers, man. I'm happy for Aaron Rodgers. I'm happy for Mike Tomlin, and I'm very happy for the Steelers fans that at least wanted to go into the playoffs, because it's got to be good to at least knock off a divisional rival in the Ravens. But I do acknowledge that, the short-term future, there may be some turmoil, especially if they wind up losing this wild card game like they have so many seasons prior. But taking a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and why they're ranking so low, they currently have the 26th rushing offense in the NFL. Jalen Warren and Gainwell, while they both individually can have some good performances, they haven't been able to put it together all season to have a consistent run game. And even though their run game hasn't been great, they are still ranking 15th in scoring offense. So it's not the absolute worst, but you're going to need to see a whole lot from Aaron Rodgers. And one of the big reasons why I rank them above the Panthers is because at least they are going to be getting DK Metcalf back. If you watch that offense these past few weeks, it has not been great. And let's be honest, if you watch them the entire season, their offense was never explosive. But DK Metcalf could at least be that deep threat, as he is a big-bodied wide receiver with a ton of speed, and they were definitely missing him these past couple of weeks. While, of course, that fourth quarter did open up against the Ravens, just having DK back there as an option, I don't know, maybe in the first three quarters, maybe that could lead to some more scoring. However, they are going to need a lot of help, as they are going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL against the Houston Texans. Now, they do have a home game, so they will be hosting Houston, and maybe that could potentially flip things in their favor depending on the weather, because it is going to be played on Monday night, so we'll see what the temperature is like, and who knows, maybe there'll be freaking snow in Pennsylvania. But as of right now, the Steelers, they got themselves into the playoffs, and now it's time for the Steelers to go to Super Bowl. Or maybe just win one playoff game. Number 12, you got the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. The Packers, you want to talk about limping into the playoffs. They have lost 4 straight games. And yes, last week, I have a tough time counting, considering you had Clayton Tune as our starting quarterback. And honestly, I can only imagine how the Packers were feeling looking at that injury report before calling up all those practice squad players last week.
I think we might need a little bit of help.
It was not great. And listen, if you want to take anything away from Sunday, there were some guys who were able to stand out. Sorrell had himself a really nice game. Oliver had a nice debut. And so it was really nice to see at least some parts of the defense looking good, especially after they got run over by Derrick Henry on the last Saturday game against the Ravens. So listen, I'm just taking any positives away from it at this point. But on offense, there was a majority of their starters who didn't even suit up or did not even see the field. And so it's not really an accurate reflection on how the Packers are going to be this Saturday, Saturday against the Bears. However, we do need to talk about some concerns. One, the fact that the Packers have lost 4 straight going into this game. On top of that, the Packers have lost a ton of folks to injury. Of course, after losing Micah Parsons against the Denver Broncos, their defense was able to show up somewhat against the Bears on that Saturday game, at least for 3 quarters, but then they just fell apart at the very end. Jordan Love got concussed. We haven't seen him since that game, though he was technically QB2 on Sunday, though he did not see the field, even though he was wearing his helmet the entire game, looking like he really wanted to play. But Jordan Love has cleared concussion protocol, and he will be starting this Saturday. Josh Jacobs, who has been banged up for about a month, he is healthy and ready to go as well. And really what it's going to come down to is, can this offense operate at a high level? They're actually really similar to the 49ers in this regard, in that if they're going to make any noise in the playoffs, it's going to come from their offense. And I do have some optimism against the Bears, because not only did they beat them the first time they played, but they were very close to beating them with Malik Willis the second time that they played. And so a rubber match on Saturday, I think that bears well for the Packers, pun intended. And so I think this matchup bodes well for the Packers, because the Bears defense, it isn't really good either. The Packers are currently ranking 15th in rushing offense. And again, the last time that Josh Jacobs was healthy, the first matchup they played against Chicago, he did really damn well. On top of that, they're ranking in the dead middle here with the 16th scoring offense and 11th on defense in points allowed. And so again, I do have some optimism, but I also can't stray away from the reality of this is a beat up football team. Their defense is nowhere near as good as it was when they had Micah Parsons. They were able to cover up a lot of their issues with their corner room. And while they did get Trayvon Diggs and he had a nice debut against the Minnesota Vikings, I'm not going to delude myself thinking that he can fix everything. However, I do believe in this Packers offense, so we'll see what they look like on Saturday. But as of right now, they're coming in at number 12. Number 11, you got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, hey! The Bills, they were able to destroy the Jets this past Sunday, though, I mean, who hasn't been able to as of late? And they got a little bit of much needed momentum heading into the playoffs. But the Bills have definitely had a challenging season, whether it's been dealing with injuries, whether it's been dealing with wide receivers not showing up to meetings and desperately needing a wide receiver, whether at times it's been an inconsistent run game, but when that run game is going, good God, it is literally the best in football, as they are the best rushing team in the NFL, or it's been the other side of the ball and that atrocious run defense at times. Because with the Bills, it really is a tale of 2 different sides of the ball. As I mentioned, they're the number 1 rushing team in the league. They're the number 4 scoring offense. And even on the defensive side of things, they're ranking in the top 15 in points allowed at 12. However, they rank as the 28th run defense, which, man, you want to talk about an Achilles heel? That is a big one. And so heading into these playoffs after losing a close game against the Philadelphia Eagles, Bills fans, they just got to hope that Josh Allen can make some Josh Allen magic happen.
Well, what are you waiting for?
I don't know. Something amazing, I guess.
Because similar to the Packers or like the 49ers or even the Chicago Bears, I think they're just going to be really reliant on that offense to make something happen. And they have a tough matchup going on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are looking like one of the best teams in football. So it definitely will not be a walk in the park for Buffalo. I think it is going to be a phenomenal game on Sunday. But as of right now, based on where their run defense is, and on top of that, not being able to knock off the Philadelphia Eagles, because when they go up against a good defense, their offense can be shut down. I gotta rank him here at number 11, but who knows? Maybe Josh Allen has something up his sleeve. Number 10, you got the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, well, they had a shot at getting the 2 seed this past Sunday against the Commanders. And hey, the Bears even tried to hand you the 2 seed because they lost against the Detroit Lions. But I'm just gonna chalk it up to the fact that you really wanted to play the 49ers. And the Eagles are basically the complete opposite of what we talked about with the Buffalo Bills. They are currently ranked as a top 5 defense in points allowed. Their defensive line and that pass rush can be a monster this year. One of the issues similar to the Bills, though, is that run defense, as you saw in that Chicago game. And those backup DBs, let's just hope that they don't see any playing time these playoffs. But looking at the offensive side of the ball, that is where you've seen the struggles this season. They currently rank 19th in scoring offense and 23rd in passing offense. And on top of that, Saquon Barkley has not had the season like he had had last year. And so you put all those things together and mix in Kevin Patullo, it has been a lackluster offensive performance. Now, the good news for Philadelphia is that they have that really good defense. I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, we'll break this down further when we get into predictions tomorrow. But as of right now, the Eagles coming in at number 10 feels a little bit balanced. They don't have the most momentum heading into these playoffs, but they're able to still host a home game against a team who doesn't really have a great defense. And so if that offense is going to put up some points, it can be against San Francisco. And it is the old saying that defense wins championships. Maybe the Eagles can do it again in the NFC. They just need their offense to pick things up. And so because of that, they're coming in at number 10. Number 9, you got the Chicago Bears. The Bears. Oh, it's been an interesting 2 weeks, huh? After going into an offensive shootout with the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football, in which you looked at that defense and going, oh, okay, well, that's not so good, but our offense is really good. Then their offense looked like absolute garbage against the Detroit Lions. So, yeah. No one has momentum going into these playoffs in the NFC North, apparently. But listen, let's talk about the Bears. They currently have the 2 seed. They have drastically improved that team from where they were last year. They built up in the trenches, though that defensive line can definitely leave some wanting. But their offensive line is significantly improved. Caleb Williams had a good year, and even though he didn't get that 4,000 passing yard milestone, he has still had a really good season. He's getting sacked less, he's turning the ball over less, and you have to be pretty damn happy, especially with that run game. They currently have a top 3 rushing unit in the NFL, ranked at number 3. They have the 19th scoring offense in the NFL. But you look at the other side of the ball, they rank 27th in run defense and 23rd in points allowed, which if you take all 14 teams heading into the playoffs, that is the lowest ranked defense in points allowed heading into this postseason. So that's not so great. So similar to the Packers and the 49ers, they're really just going to have to rely on their offense. And of course, what matchup do we get? We get Bears-Packers round 3. And this time, it's win or go home.
Like 98% excited, 2% scared. It could be 98% scared, 2% excited, but that's what makes it so intense.
And I do think this is going to be a phenomenal game. And listen, it's going to be great for the rivalry because whoever wins, yeah, that fan base. They are going to be something over this next year or so. But yeah, the Bears, offense real good, defense not so good. Kyler Gordon, they just opened his practice window. That could definitely make a difference for the Bears. But as of right now, I feel comfortable putting them at number 9 after losing to the Lions and also the 49ers. And we'll see if they can win the rubber match against the Packers. But God, I hope not. Number 8, you got the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, yeah, they're taking a little bit of a tumble down these power rankings because, woof, that was a rough one on Saturday night. They got absolutely dominated by the Seattle Seahawks. Their offense couldn't put up a single touchdown. Christian McCaffrey couldn't get things going. And now Brock Purdy has to realize that he's going up against that Eagles defense after almost being destroyed by the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, poop.
And for the 49ers, we already mentioned them a bunch. One, I got to give them a lot of credit and respect. No, they were unable to win the division in an insane NFC West season, but they were contending for the number 1 seed in the NFC with all those major injuries. They haven't had Fred Warner. They haven't had Bosa. And so, yeah, they deserve a bunch of credit for that, while also acknowledging that their defense is not so great. While their defense ranks 13th in points allowed this season, they ranked 25th in passing yards allowed. So, yeah, a lot of teams can air it out against the San Francisco 49ers. But the good news is that their offense is pretty damn good, especially when they get CMC going. Not only do they have the number 5 passing offense in the league, but they are a top 10 scoring unit, ranking at number 10. So when this offense can get things going, like you saw Brock Purdy in the games before the Seattle Seahawks, he was putting up 5 touchdown performances. And again, going up against a good Eagles defense is going to be real interesting because if they're able to move the ball with CMC, it could be either one's game. And I also will mention getting Trent Williams back will be a huge boost to that offensive line and hopefully will keep Brock Purdy upright. But considering they can get shut down on offense like you saw from this past Saturday, and their defense is susceptible to the pass, I got to rank them here at number 8. And all I know is whoever wins that 49ers-Eagles matchup, yeah, they're going to let the opposing fan base know about it. Number 7, you got the LA Chargers. The Chargers, well, listen, they could have done the Patriots a solid and given them the number 1 seed this past Sunday, but they decided to rest their starters against the Denver Broncos.
Avenge me.
Avenge me!
So while you didn't see Justin Herbert and a bunch of their starters being rested, their defense was still pretty damn good, as the Broncos weren't able to score a single touchdown against them as they were still playing for that number 1 seed. And for the Chargers, you already know what their deal is. It's their offensive line. And I've been talking about this for weeks, this is going to be one of the biggest what-ifs of the postseason, depending on what the Chargers are able to do in the playoffs. What if that team was healthy? What if you had Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt? I think they're contending for that number 1 seed in the AFC. But even without those guys, their offense is still operating really well. I like Omari and Hampton a lot. Vidal has been great. That passing game with Justin Herbert, he has been sensational this season. Their defense is a top 10 unit in the NFL. They're ranked 9th in points allowed. And the team that they could have helped give the number 1 seed to, they are going against on Sunday night against the New England Patriots. And I think that is going to be a really fun matchup. The Patriots pass rush definitely could be better this season, and maybe that's going to bode well for the Chargers, who, yeah, again, you've seen the state of their offensive line. And who knows, if the Chargers are able to get that offense moving, whether it's on the ground or through the air, I think the Chargers have a decent chance of upsetting the Patriots on Sunday night. But as of right now, they rank at number 7. They had a close game with the Texans, but were unable to pull it off. And while it wasn't necessarily a close game against the Broncos, they were resting their starters. Hopefully, they'll be fully rested for Sunday night, and we'll see if the Chargers can make some noise in the playoffs. Number 6, you got the LA Rams. The Rams, they were able to knock off the Arizona Cardinals this past Sunday, leaving the Falcons in their rearview mirror after that atrocious Monday game, which, to their credit, they were able to bounce back from a 21-0 deficit. But yeah, the Rams definitely have a little bit less momentum heading into this postseason from where they were, I don't know, say about a month ago. Matthew Stafford is still playing at an incredibly high level, and I don't want to bury the Rams too much here because I do think they are a very good team. But there are times, inexplicably, where they do not show up. Look at that Falcons game, or the fact that the Rams are still scratching their head, wondering how they lost to the Panthers the first time around. Why you did this?
I don't know. I'm just a silly guy at times. I have no idea.
Because the Rams, they have a top 10 rushing offense. They rank at number 7. They have the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. And they also have a top 10 defense, ranking 10th in points allowed. But yeah, the Rams, they're a balanced football team this year. Matthew Stafford having that MVP-like season. They'll be getting Devontae Adams back, which will be a really nice boost to that offense. They can do it on the ground. They can do it through the air. But sometimes they just do not put it together, and they wind up losing games that many of us think they should win. But all that being said, even though they are on the road against the Carolina Panthers, who were able to beat them previously, I still think they are a Super Bowl contending team, though they're likely going to have to go through the Seattle Seahawks to try and get to Santa Clara. And we know what happened the last time that those two teams played. But yeah, the Rams, I think right outside the top 5 is the perfect spot for them. They are one of those teams that I think can go all the way. They're just going to have to put it together for 4 quarters and hopefully not turn the ball over. Number 5, you got the Houston Texans. The Texans, my Strouds. Oh man, they are on a 9-game winning streak and now are looking to wreak havoc in the AFC.
A new power is rising. Its victory is at hand. Leave none alive. To war!
The Texans, what a freaking season they have had, man, especially at the start of the year where things were not looking great. Their offensive line was atrocious. Their run game really hasn't been fantastic this year. They never saw Joe Mixon take the field, but they were able to put together a pretty damn good offense, and their defense has been elite and lights out this year. They're coming into these playoffs as the number 2 defense in points allowed, and you have seen that time and time again. They can get after the quarterback. Their secondary is really damn good. And on the offensive side of things, they are still ranked in the top 15th in scoring offense at number 13. And so CJ Stroud has been able to put together a really nice 2025 campaign. And the reason I'm so high for the Texans is not only their matchup against the Steelers, who I think they match up pretty well with, but it's just because there are very few defenses as good as them in the entirety of the NFL, let alone the AFC. And I think that's going to be a major difference going forward in the playoffs. Now, you would like to see some more explosiveness from that offense. I do miss Tank Dell greatly, and I would like to see their run game be a lot better than what it currently is, but I think their defense is going to give them a lot of flexibility on how they can win football games this postseason. And so right now, the Texans, for me, based off their defense alone, are a top 5 unit. Their offense being at least above average puts it over the top for me. They are probably my dark horse for a Super Bowl contender. And so right now, the Texans come in at number 5, and let's see if they can get to that divisional round. Number 4, you got the Denver Broncos. And I know, Broncos fans, you locked up the 1 seed and the first round bye, but you're still coming in at number 4.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous.
The Broncos, let's give them all the credit in the world. They freaking got the number 1 seed, man. Their defense has been excellent this season. They're ranked number 3 in points allowed, just behind the Texans, and that has been the staple that has allowed them to be so damn consistent this year. On top of that, Bo Nix has definitely developed further this year. You've been able to give him a run game to be able to lean on, and while you would definitely like to see more in that department, because RJ Harvey has been inconsistent at times, he is still a pretty damn good player. I know J.K. Dobbins has been out, and even with all their offensive woes, they still rank as the 14th scoring offense. And now being able to rest up, play all their games at home, and only have to win 2 games before going to the Super Bowl, yeah, the Broncos are freaking Super Bowl contenders, man. Yes, it has not been the prettiest way that they've been able to win these games. They did lose decisively against the Jaguars, and I know that Christmas Day game against the Chiefs backups was not great, but it's a divisional game, and again, I don't think Broncos fans are going to really complain about winning ugly all the way to the Super Bowl. But I also think it's going to come down to who they're matched up against in that divisional round. If they're matched up against a team like the Texans, that is going to be a tough matchup. I know they were able to squeak away a win against them earlier this season, but yeah, like I mentioned, that Texans defense is really damn good. And so for the Broncos, they probably don't have the most momentum going into the playoffs, but they have the most advantageous seeding in the AFC, sitting at number 1. They got the bye. And now it's just up to Bo Nix and the Broncos to prove everybody wrong and make them believers. Number 3, you got the New England Patriots. The Patriots, oh man, got the fracking 2 seed. They got 14 wins. They dominated the Dolphins. And it looks like the evil empire is here to stay.
Something dark side. Something complete.
The Patriots, after losing to the Bills a few weeks ago, they have been putting up some great offensive performances. Yes, they were struggling against the Baltimore Ravens until that final quarter, but they were able to rally back, get that comeback win, and these last 2 weeks, I know it's not been against the greatest teams, they've been able to go off as Drake May has been putting up some great performances. And hell, even Ramondre Stevenson had a really good game on Sunday. And so the Patriots sitting at the 2 seed, they're going to be hosting the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. And this season, what a freaking turnaround, man. A couple days ago, Will Campbell and Milton Williams were activated to return to the 53-man roster, which will be a huge boost for the Patriots. But seriously, just the turnaround from what they've been able to do, you got to give Mike Vrabel a ton of credit. Them also going out and getting guys like Stephon Diggs and going out and getting Will Campbell, even though I know he's been injured, it has really turned this squad around. They ranked number 6 in rushing offense. They're the 2nd best scoring offense in the NFL. And on defense, they are top 5. They rank 4th in points allowed. And so that is nothing to shrug your shoulders at. And while I do think there are some weak points, whether it is the protection of Drake May or it is that pass rush, I think the Patriots could cause a ton of problems, and I do think they are Super Bowl contenders. Like I mentioned, they have a tough matchup against the Chargers. I think that's going to set the tone, but considering they're ranked the 2 seed, if they're able to get this win, they'll be able to host at least one more playoff game, and I know there's plenty of teams that don't want to go to Foxborough in January, and so we'll see if the evil empire will ascend the throne once again and cover the NFL in Patriot darkness. Number 2, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars, man. I'm just so freaking happy for them. The Jaguars were able to knock off the Titans this past Sunday, and I know Cam Ward got hurt, and it's against a 3-win team, so there's nothing really to boast about. But the Jaguars, they've had some really damn impressive wins, and they haven't lost in a good long while. It hasn't been since the Texans game that they've lost a freaking football game, and this team just feels like it is operating on a ton of momentum. And one of the main guys we have to thank because of this is Trevor Lawrence, because he has transformed into an entirely new QB under Liam Cohen. The Jaguars currently sit as the number 3 seed in the AFC, and this team just feels different this year. It feels like these glitter kitties could absolutely be Super Bowl contenders. They rank number 6 in scoring offense, and we've seen Trevor Lawrence on a tear as of late. But taking a look at the defense, one of the worst defenses last year, they've completely turned things around. Not only are they a top 10 defense in points allowed, ranking it at number 8, but they are also the number 1 ranked run defense in the entirety of the NFL. And going up against a Buffalo Bills team who is ranked number 1 in rushing offense, good God, that is going to be such an exciting matchup. Should have been Monday Night Football, but that's neither here nor there. And for the Jaguars, being able to host a home game, and if the Patriots are upset on Sunday night, the Jaguars will host the divisional round as well. Yeah, I think the Jaguars can definitely win 3 games and get to the Super Bowl. Their defense is playing really damn well. Their offense is firing on all cylinders. And while I would like to see their run game have a bit more consistency, and I do worry about their secondary a bit, I do think that they have the squad that could go all the way this year. And so because of that, maybe I'm too high on Duval. I got to give the Jaguars their due, coming in at number 2. And let's see what those frickin' glitter kitties can do. It's a whole lot of rhyming. And number 1, no surprise here, you got the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks dominating the 49ers this past Saturday. That game wasn't even freaking close, and the Seahawks left points on the board. Their defense was absolutely suffocating to a very good 49ers offense, and this season has been spectacular for Seattle. McDonald has definitely revolutionized that defense over the past couple of seasons, and on top of that, going and getting Zabel in the draft, their offensive line has been better, and now they sit at the number 1 seed in the NFC. And I know Seahawks fans remember how the media was talking about them at the beginning of this year.
Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
The Seahawks not only dominating this past Saturday, but look at these stats. They are ranked as the number 3 scoring offense in the NFL. And on top of that, they are the number 1 defense in points allowed. You saw it on Saturday. You see how good that pass rush is. Their secondary is no joke now that it's healthy. And yeah, this Seahawks team is a dangerous one. We've been talking about some of their inefficiencies throughout the year, whether it's the turnovers, which yes, you still have a problem with that. Sam Darnold at times can see some ghosts and will turn the ball over. But also one of their problems has been the run game. But over these past few weeks, that has not looked like an issue at all. And in fact, they finish at number 11 in terms of rushing yards on offense. So they really can lean on that run game at times. And dude, you can't count out Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. They have a 2-headed monster in that backfield. And once those guys get going, if Sam Darnold is able to lean on them, oh boy, it is going to be tough to beat the Seattle Seahawks. On top of that, now they get another week of rest. The road to Santa Clara is going to run through Seattle, and it's going to be tough to knock them off with that atmosphere because Seattle is a tough place to play. And hell, we didn't even mention JSN. What a freaking season he's had. I think it's going to be very dependent on what matchup they get in the divisional round. They could see the Packers if the Packers knock off the Bears, but if they're able to go up against another really good defense, that's where I can see things potentially going wrong for Seattle. But as of right now, they can't be anything else but the number 1 team in these power rankings because, yeah, they look like the best team in the league. They have all the momentum going forward. And so as of right now, the Seahawks are at number 1. And if they make it to the Super Bowl, just run the ball on the 1. And so to recap here, at number 1, you got the Seahawks, 2 Jaguars, 3 Patriots, 4 Broncos, 5 Texans, 6 Rams, 7 Chargers, 8 49ers, 9 Bears, 10 Eagles, 11 Bills, 12 Packers, 13 Steelers, and 14 Panthers. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you think these power rankings should look? Who should be higher on the list? Who should be lower? Well, I'll see how it shakes out this weekend for the wild card round. We only have 13 games left this season, so we got to enjoy every single minute of this. I know I will. So Let's see what frickin' happens. You guys saw me at TomGrossiComedy.com. A big shout and thank you to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching, folks. I'll see you tomorrow for predictions. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.